You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird brain. It's a plane. It's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, this is Walter and iWalter. It is Sunday the 15th, November 15th, yes, on 2015. I've been off for quite a while, but that was because actually on Thursday night, and Friday all day and part of Saturday I was down in Blairstown, New Jersey, and also in Hope, Jersey. That's where they actually shot Friday the 13th. So I had no clue what was going on in the news, to give you a heads up. And I found out just last night or yesterday after I got home, and it didn't sink in. I'm not going to, beat a dead horse, no puns intended, but a lot of people seem to be going off about what happened in France, which I understand, but to play the devil's advocate, I think a friend would agree with me. A lot of this stuff, we had, people of these countries, including our country, which I wouldn't be surprised if we have another brutal attack like the one that happened in France. No offense, but a lot of this stuff was created by people who just want to be politically correct constantly and don't seem to realize that this is a serious issue. You don't just feel sorry for people and let them in your country and let them do whatever they want and practice whatever belief they feel is necessary. You got to set some grounds, and obviously these countries don't. One thing I will say, though, because this came up on Daily Mail earlier today, and they said French launched series of massive air attacks on ISIS. This is the bullet points. Targets in, I don't know, is that Raqqa, including jihad recruitment central and training camp. French jets carried out massive bombing in ISIS and held city of Raqqa, Syria, in revenge for terror attack in Paris. Again, these are all the bullet points. 10 fighter jets dropped 20 bombs and destroyed ISIS command central and jihad training camp in Syria. French jets took off from the air bases in Jordan and United Arab Emirates. I think I said that right. And tragedy key ISIS sites in Raqqa. I'm probably not saying that correctly, but I'm just saying the best I can. Heavy bombing raid comes just 2 days after horrific attacks in Paris, which left as many as 128 people dead. Now, I'm not dismissing the people that got killed. They were innocent people. That is not right. But again, in all these countries, including the United States, they just let these people roam freely and do whatever they want because that's the politically correct thing to how to deal with things. And, there's reasons why we have rules and regulations in this country, which obviously no one seems to want to enforce. All they want to enforce is to how, the Republicans and white males are repressing every other part of, our society, and that they like to continue to blame a president we didn't have, that we had over 7 years ago, meaning Bush, And even longer back, they want to blame Reagan for all these issues. It can be a century from now, and they're gonna find a way that they're gonna blame the Republicans, and they're gonna blame Reagan, and they're gonna try to blame Bush, which they have nothing to do with this stuff. Their hands are clean of these issues. The one they should be focusing on in our country, if they want to blame anybody as far as the president, is the one that exists in office now, but they don't wish to, because that would be racism, and people don't want to deal with that, which is not the reason. I wasn't going to go in this order, but I now probably will. Speaking about in entertainment way, there's no entertainment in what I just had mentioned, but it said on Variety.com, it's some entertainment site. I found some article, and it said CBS shuffles episodes of Supergirl, NCIS LA following the Paris attacks, simply because both those shows had stuff pertaining to some type of terrorism. So they decided to change the order of these particular shows on the episodes that were supposed to be the next given time, and they decided not to show those simply because what happened and like would have happened. So I can understand certain things. Anyway, going back, I did spend my last couple days. It was kind of expensive. I definitely did enjoy it. This Blairstown event, actually, reason I had decided to go. I originally was going to go to Blairstown to the campsite where they shot the original Friday the 13th, which is, I can't pronounce the name correctly, so I'm not going to even try to pretend I know how to say it. It's been around for almost 100 years now, that campsite. And, way before, I think it was in the 1930s or 1920s, almost 100 years. Maybe not quite, maybe 3/4 of a century. Let me take a swallow. It's a Boy Scouts campsite, and for three times already in the last few years, they decided to put together, because of a large request, could they do visits with the public, because it's a private property for Boy Scouts only, to do tours of the campsite, where they had once filmed the movie of Friday the 13th, and they finally came to an agreement, again 3 times. Each time the tickets sell for $100 a piece, and all proceeds go directly towards the Boy Scouts camp. I do have links, even if you just put in film and location for Friday the 13th, it will take you there. This last time, I had actually was not fortunate enough to buy a ticket to this campground event. They said the next time, though, they're going to do it. They're actually, since it's in such high demand, you're probably questioning, what is high demand? Well, believe it or not, it is very high. The past time they said they only allowed, I think, 125 people, if that. They were broken down to small groups to do the tours on this campground, where once again they shot Friday the 13th. Well, they had to reject or turn down 5,000 other people. Now, you're probably thinking, are these all local people or what? Well, actually, there's people, I'm not even joking, who have traveled from Europe to go to this event. Not this time. Out of the 3 times they did this, they said the one time, I had spoken to the people who set up these camp tours on this campsite. It's like Nubutu or something like that. I do have a link, like I said, or if you just look under, what do you call it? Under, let's see if I can pop it up. If you look underneath, because I actually had taken some pictures, trying to look on my thing. But it's, from where I live, it's about 2 hours. Anyway, Yeah, you can find out more information and get on their mailing list for the next time. They said actually, they all year round the Boy Scouts have things going on there, so they always come first. They mentioned if they do anything outside of without other than things for the Boy Scouts, then that is put on the back burner pretty much for this event with trying to think of the correct word for these Friday the 13th events. But they said one time they actually had a guy who actually traveled all the way from Switzerland. This is no joke. He actually did come from Switzerland just to do the tour. So, yeah, they get people globally who just actually either go to Blairstown. I saw some video on YouTube. The guy was actually from England who did not go on the tour, but he just wanted to see where they shot the film. And, obviously he got taken kind of humorously, I guess, gathered from what this guy, when they said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Well, I'm here just to eat where they shot, like the diner, and look around just to see where they shot Friday the 13th, the original film." So I didn't realize, I don't even think Sean Cunningham probably, per se, realized how big, this is globally, but it really is. It's no joke. Friday the 13th has just influenced a lot of people, I guess. And it's funny because the film was done in 1980. There was a lot of horror films beforehand and obviously afterwards, but that one has just made the biggest influence. I'm going to see if I can find right now. That's why I'm pointing my head down. You actually just have to put in, because I'm doing it now, just put in Camp Friday the 13th and it will come up. Anyway, it's spelled NO-BE-BO-SCO is a campground. And you can just put that in, the tour, camp tour, and you have to sign up. I should be a little bit higher, but higher on the list of the waiting list for people for the next one. They're going to do it in May, actually, for the next tour event. They actually said, again, they want to try to set up for overnight camping as well for people who want to spend the night on the campgrounds. I'm sure that's going to be not very cheap. But the waiting list right now on just those alone, not the people who are just going to sign up once the tickets go on sale, that waiting list on the top is 5,000 people. So, yeah, that's what I meant. When I said, I think I did say earlier about 5,000 people, that's for the people who actually did this time sign up hoping to get it next time on the waiting list. So, yeah, there's actually a lot more than that. Anything you buy, I mean, some of the stuff's a little ridiculous. They actually tore down some old, wooden foundations off the premises, and actually the wood was made to make frames, and they actually cut down certain trees that were there during the filming of Friday the 13th. They're no longer there. Again, some cabins that were torn apart, and the wood they actually used to make frames, or they just cut slices of wood or timber, and they were selling it, but the price on the wood and the timber on a lot of the artifacts are around, I would say, about $150 and stuff. And I know the proceeds go towards the campers, the kids, but I thought that was just ridiculous. I got some frame that was the cheapest one I had. It was a lot less than that $150 range. And I said, and it says on the back, certificate of authenticity, says it was, what was around still when they shot Friday the 13th. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is the money hopefully does, and they're not just saying that, because it's a younger guy and his wife who actually runs this tour with their daughter. I'm just praying that they don't, a lot of these things claim they, 100% goes towards, because I can't say either way. But they say it will go towards these kids in the Boy Scouts, and they end up pocketing. I'm referring to the thing. I'm hoping it's not like the Clintons. They're saying, "Oh yeah, we do these charity events, and 100% of it goes towards these charities. Well, they pocket 90% of that 100% of proceeds. That's the Clintons, though. So, yeah, I'm hoping it's nothing like that, because it's something I, hope that any money I gave, because it's very hard for me right now that I am giving a donation towards something that's going to benefit kids. I really, honestly am saying that, because that's the only reason I would give anything. Somebody actually on the tour, though, this is no joke, I asked him, I said, hey, if somebody is a no-show, I'm only right down the street, because I got a hotel for the 2 days I was down there outside of Blairsville, that I said, just give me a call and I'll show up. I'll buy the ticket, whoever never shows up. Lo and behold, when I was talking to this guy, he said, yeah, somebody did not show up. There was one extra ticket, but apparently somebody that was already at this campground event for Friday the 13th, on Friday the 13th, actually said, you know what, I will buy the ticket for $100. I don't want to sell the ticket. They basically said that money for that ticket, 100% of that's going to go, is going to, they say that they do this, 100% is going towards these kids, as a donation towards this campground. So that's pretty impressive. Somebody actually gave $100 out of their pocket, not to, basically to buy the ticket, but not only that, just basically to give a donation. So obviously people take this very strongly about supporting these boys' camps and stuff. So that was a nice donation on their part. And again, I had just hope they're being honest about that, because I kind of am very skeptic about people who say, But this guy who runs this campground for this Friday the 13th thing he does, young guy, he's not the owner of the campground. He was actually a Boy Scout there, too. So he gets pretty serious when you talk to him. And I try to respect what they're trying to do. So, with the hopes that they're not ripping people off, too. Anyway, a friend just sent me this article on PIX11. I might as well just read it now. And I don't know what it's about, because he just had sent it to me. I just got it while I was setting up, or actually started my show. Actually, yeah, I was already in the process. It's titled, "It Will Give You Chills." Video of a Chick-fil-A employee singing "God Bless the USA" goes viral. So that just went up. And this was in, it looks like Kansas, Oak Park, Kansas. So, hey, I got to give the guy some, it says it got over 1,000 views, or actually looks more like 100,000. No, it looks like no, it is 100,000 views. That's pretty impressive. So this guy starts singing God Bless America. I got to give him credit, because now anything you do like that in the U.S. now, you're considered like you're being you're insulting, or not insulting, you're offending somebody, I wanted to say. So that is pretty impressive, to say the least. We got to give the guy credit. I really wanted to focus more on Blairstown, so I had some stories lined up. So when I try to get through some of these really quick. Again, I'm not going to say much. Everybody knows about this thing in France, and it's something unfortunate, but people need to be more aware of their surroundings and not trying to be so politically correct, and stop worried about offending certain people. That's just ridiculous. The ones that are getting offended are the people who made this country the way it was. I say in past tense, because it's no longer the same. Anyway, a friend also sent me this right before I went on. Local 21 News. This was Tampa, Florida. Police statement on bullet point: woman shot in head during a freaky some type of sex act. And again, it was in Tampa, Florida. Court records in Florida say a man facing manslaughter charges after he accidentally shot and killed a woman while they were having sexual intercourse. The Tampa Police Department say that Tyrone Hammett, Fields told them that he was having freaky sex with a woman at a hotel when he accidentally shot her in the head. I don't know, this whole thing, I mean, I hate to say it, it's this whole gangster type thing that these certain type people try to fit into, and then the women who find that very attractive. And it's usually always the same type of women that fall for this bullshit. So I'm just, I don't even want to say much about that either. I'm just giving my 2 cents. Fields told police that Christina Megler asked for him to put a gun to her head as part of the sexual activity, and he says he took a magazine out of the handgun before putting it to her head. Well, you know what? There's always a fucking bullet in the chamber, dude. I even know that. I don't even know how to use a freaking gun. I've never even seen a gun up close and personal, to tell you the truth. The suspect forgot the bullet in the chamber. Pulled the trigger, police say. Well, there you go. Dumb in the dumbest. The idiot girl who told her, oh, I want you to put a gun to my head. Well, I don't blame him as much as her. Well, she's dead, so he took care of the problem. Field was taken to jail and facing felony charges. His bond is set at $30,000. Yeah, $30,000. No offense, if she actually truly said that, I can't blame the guy as much as I can blame her for being just a complete moron. They both were too bright, but, one's more. It's like basically literally the blind leading the blind. No offense to anybody, because I probably offended somebody now. Anyhow, a friend sent me this. It was on Philly newspaper. It's Philly.com. Parents fume over Cherry Hill Mall's pricey Santa. So I figured, how expensive can this be? And it said $35 just to sit on Santa's lap. And it was a $50 package. There's a $35 package for a freaking photo of Santa Claus in the Cherry Hill Mall. And the $50 one is a markdown from $75 is the fee. I just really do think that's kind of ridiculous. When I was a kid, which I did probably get, that everybody had, sat on Santa's lap. It was nothing nearly as high as what they're telling you, what they're charging now. So everybody's feeling the price crunch or the effect of our economy being so poorly and such in a shit house that everybody's paying the price, even kids now. That's a shame, too. I mean, he's not like Brad Pitt. You're not sitting on his lap. I'm just using that hypothetically. I don't know. So, a lighter note, happy birthday to Ed Asner. November, is it still the 15th? Yep, it is November 15th. It was his birthday. He was born 1929. He played on Mary Tyler Moore. He played her boss, the main boss on that show. That's an old show. Most people don't even know who that is, so I'm not going to push it too far. Yeah, somebody just wrote, a friend's brother wrote that the guy who sang God Bless America commented, he said he'll probably get fired. And it's like so true. You can't be patriotic or support this country more without offending someone or saying something offensive. Even if you just say hello, you might say it to the wrong person and they'll find that very offensive. I mean, I'm not even kidding anymore. That's the sad thing. This story I really don't understand, but it was on AmericaOverlook.com. Thank you again, Todd. And it was from like Britain, QVC. It says QVC, but they had British accents, so it probably was an English version. And you buy things on QVC, but this one was from England because everything was written in British pounds for the prices. It says video, as soon as this aired on QVC, they immediately got thousands of angry calls. And the reason was, at the time of the thing, you can actually, it's on YouTube too. It says Deborah and Sammy QVC UK models, and it said 280415. I guess that's what they were selling. And it was basically ladies' lingerie or underwear. Not even lingerie. That's probably not the right word. It is underwear. But it's basically underwear to help, like support, like a girdle, kind of, so to speak. a bra and not even a bra and panties. Like, it's one of those things that basically pushing, I don't know how else to put it, that pushes in the fat. It basically gives women a better undergarments that give better support to overweight or, like, you know, women that are just not stick figures. So, or well endowed, so to speak. Well, maybe that's not the right word, but they're kind of big on top. How's that? So, anyway, it states that when two voluptuous women paraded around in their underwear, thousands called and asked the models to come with, do the models come with spandex? I'm not even kidding. That's really what it says. And it says 10-minute clip attracted more than 960,000 viewers as soon as it was shared on YouTube. But people aren't interested in the tight fit in underwear, but the two curvious women in the underneath. So they got a lot of complaints about this, obviously, as well. Obviously is not the right word to use. Viewers were stunned by the full-figure runway models believed to be Sammy Marsh and Deborah Ann Ganadio or whatever. I don't even know who these people are, as they paraded around in pastel-colored vests and tiny briefs. Well, you know what? It's underwear. You see this in magazines. But again, this is that whole thing with political correctness is going way too far. People got offended by women selling underwear, you know, or the models wearing the underwear on QVC. It's there for women to see what it looks like and how, you know, I see these infomercials all the time. I wonder if they even get pulled after a while, because they do these ones on Spanx or jeggings, they call it. It's basically spandex to look like jeans. And I tell you, some of the women are really hot. And it's a shame, but, you know, now they got to be offended for looking too pretty. I mean, I'm not even kidding. I think it's ridiculous. I'm just going to take a swallow real quick. So the bottom line is, if you're a decent-looking woman, and this is unusual for me, but if you're a decent-looking woman, you know, be worried that you're going to offend women who are less attractive. And again, I just think that is... I think that is just ridiculous. Now, you know, it's bad enough that guys can't look at women because you're going to offend somebody else besides the woman you're looking at, or maybe perhaps that woman because either A, you're staring too long, or if you're not the right person looking at them, you're going to be basically a sex offender. But now you got to deal with idiots that watch TV who get offended by attractive-looking women. So I think things have just gone too far. And talking about sexual perverts, Todd sent me this, PIX11.com. I got my one friend Matt on this one. Manhattan man, 71, arrested for sex in a 13-year-old old girl. It's a police, thing. It's a bullet point, too. The reason I said that about my one friend Matt is because you'll probably say, oh, you're doing another story on sexual perverts that are young or older women having sex with little 13-year-old girls. No, this is a 71-year-old man from Manhattan. Now, here's the funny thing. I read this. It says a 71-year-old Manhattan man has been arrested after police say he posed as a 31-year-old sexually exchanged sexual explicit text with a 13-year-old girl. Now, apparently, when they thought he was 31, it was less of an offense of this guy, if he was 31, to make or send a sex text to a 13-year-old. But when they found out it was a 71-year-old, then everything kind of like, look, whoa, wait, hey, we got to step back. This guy's like not 31, he's 71. That's offensive. So you're telling me, this is how I'm like kind of, reading this article. Okay, well, it was a 31-year-old guy. That's okay to have sex with a 13-year-old. But the fact that he's 71 years old, now it's a big difference. Well, what's the difference? They're both, they can be both arrested for the same exact crime, but apparently it's less of a crime if he's only 31 as opposed to being 71. Either one is just as offensive. That's the way what I'm trying to say. Authorities say that Vincent I. in Kako or something of East 88th Street met the teen through a cell phone social media app known as KIK Messenger and Whisper. This person then allegedly began sexting the girl on November 4th as he was posing as a younger man. The girl's parents discovered a message and called police. But again, apparently, even with this little kid, or the parents, I'm sure, I wouldn't doubt it, if it was a 31-year-old, it would have been less offensive than a 71-year-old. And in my opinion, I'm trying to state, it shouldn't make any difference. The person's over the age of that kid, and that kid shouldn't be thinking about sex anyway. I definitely did it. Not at 13. No, I definitely didn't. Is charged. This guy is being charged with. It says dismeditating incident material to a minor and endangering the welfare of a child. He will be arraigned on Sunday, November 15th, which was today, which is weird, Sunday, November 15th, at the First District Court in Hempstead. Now, that's weird why they would do it on a Sunday, which, again, is still Sunday now. I didn't really pull too many stories because I really wanted to mainly focus on, my main thing of, excuse me, taking his trip, because I did spend a bit of cash, not that much. I got a cheap hotel, which I won't do again. It was actually a Super 8, which is actually owned by the Wyndham Hill Hotel franchise. The hotel was very nice. Unfortunately, though, the water was cold when I had taken showers. They made sure that the water, you could not push it all the way over the hot. So I had taken cold showers for 2 days and was like, you know what, I'm not going to fight this one. Again, it was Super 8 in Bud Lake is the location. And I did a lot of research. It was like $70 a night. You won't find anywhere cheaper. Most of the places in New Jersey are about double that price within that area, not too far from Blairstown. So it was the cheapest hotel. It was very clean. They were remodeling the place. They're working on a lot, but the water was cold. They apparently turned off the heater after midnight, so I woke up in the middle of the night, even after I pushed the temperature, which I never do. My one friend, Matt, will tell you this. We shared a room together before on vacations twice, or like overnights, just to split the cost. And he knows I don't like it hot. Well, it was so cold in the room. How cold was it? I was literally I almost could see my breath. And I turned the temperature up pretty much close to, I would say, around 72, 73 degrees, which is unheard of. And it was still frigid in the room and it only happened at night because they turned off the hot. They regulated the thermostat in your room. So that really pissed me off. So that was a major downfall in Super 8. The traffic around there was 3 lanes on both ways up and down in front of this hotel on not a major highway, but this particular part of New Jersey was just ridiculous because the speed limit these people would go were around 60, 65 miles an hour. And if you try to pull into even right on the correct side of the road where the Super 8 was, I had one person, they stayed in my blind spot. Then they made sure to speed up as I tried to turn in. I almost broke the axle of my car trying to turn in at 60, 70 miles an hour on a sharp turn into the hotel, which had a narrow turn in, the way that you could turn in. And I mean, it was just ridiculous. So the whole thing was just a nightmare. If you were on the other side of the road, you had to go over 4 lanes. And people would play that game where they would go really slow, and if you pull out in front of them, they'd start, and then this happened to me every single time for 2 days. They would speed up and start blowing their horn like you're doing something wrong. It's like, well, wait a minute, you're just slowing down to let me go into this this hotel complex. Then you speed up and try to run into me. The one time I actually had some lady, no signals, which I think that's a new thing for most people, is not to use signals and just slam on your brakes to make a turn. and I almost broke, probably worn out half my brake pads because of people just slamming on their brakes, not using turn signals, and making turns at the last second and thinking that you could read their mind. So the whole thing was just a nightmare. So that was the worst part, though. The hotel, again, was very clean. I will give it that much credit. The rest of it was just majorly disappointing, though. Going to Blairstown and Hope, once you got into town, wasn't as bad. Still had some pretty nutty drivers, but not as bad as where I was staying, which, again, it says, I'm looking at it now, Super 8, and it said Budd, B-U-D-D Lake is the location. And, I would stay there again, but there's other ones I'd probably prefer better. Again, they are owned by the Wyndham, which is a big franchise. This particular one is, and they turn off your cable after 8 o'clock. Like, you have your TV on, you have to reset it because they turn everything off. It says 102 U.S. Highway 46, Budd Lake, New Jersey is where I stayed. I usually make comments about places I stay because I usually like them. This one I might hold back on because it would be, a friend always accuses me that I am not open, honest about places. I think this one, I would have to be honest about because the place was clean, but the little games that went on around that place was more than I could even wish to stomach and even make a report on. So normally that's the first thing I'll do when I even get home. And this time I did not because that was just really depressing. The highlight, though, was checking out these scenes. And by the way, they're each only a block long. The scenes they shot for Friday the 13th, in the in-town shots for the original movie, those locations are no bigger than one block. I ate at two different places. One was a pub right across from where they shot the main scenes for the beginning of the movie where that girl, I think her name was Annie, the character, was walking down the street with her backpack. Right across from where she was walking underneath this little tunnel type thing. That's the main street of the town. That is basically the whole town. It's only a block long, and they kind of extend it by shooting other locations and pretending that she was still walking in town, but it was not. They extended her trail, her walk. But which I stopped at all the locations that character from the movie actually walked. The last one was a cemetery, which was the last one I had taken photos of before I went home. And I was being good. I really wanted to go to the campground, but, I don't want to walk on, tread on shallow water, no puns intended, and, go to that campground where they shoot the film. Yeah, the Monavin Cemetery, Hope, New Jersey. And it's only 15 minutes from Hope, New Jersey is where, again, they shot some of the scenes for the movie. That campground, I forget where that's at. I can look that up. And then Blairstown is the other place. They're all like 15 minutes apart from each other. Well, at least the one was. But, I could have went to the campground. I didn't really want to because if I get caught, they're going to keep that on mind, and that's just going to make sure that I will never get on that campground. I don't want to jeopardize that. So it wasn't even worth trying. In my opinion, it wasn't worth checking it out. Let me see what I can find. The campground. Okay, yeah, here it is. It basically goes under the camp's name. I'm just seeing if I can find. I had it. I think they try to keep that until like the day you would actually go on, as my assumption. You can look it up. I did look it up earlier. I'm just seeing if I can find the name. Alrighty, yes, the address for this camp where they shot Friday the 13th is 11 Sand Pond Road, Hardwick, New Jersey, 07825. So, yeah, it's not that far from Blairstown, because the one guy who runs the camp, or not runs the camp, he runs the tours for the Friday the 13th thing. He's also, I don't know how to put it, he's a member of the Boy Scouts thing. He's probably he works at the campgrounds as well. He says he lives in Blairstown. He's lived there all his life. That camp is not that far from where he lives in Blairstown. So give or take, Hope, New Jersey, Blairstown, and what I just mentioned, which I just lost. Let me check it up again. Hardwick, they're all very close to each other. They're no more than 15 minutes from each other. There is actually, besides the Hardwick campgrounds, I noticed on the way when I drove into Blairstown, there is actually a national park, and there's some historic sites. There's a lot of, which I didn't even know, Blairstown's got a lot of historic buildings. They're landmarks, and they also have a park, a military park over in Blairstown, which is free. That's free. You're allowed to go on there. Unlike I said, the campground for the kids where they shot the movie, that's different. You need permission to go on. And unfortunately, the only time you're going to get permission for the protection of the children is if you go on one of those Friday the 13th tours. And that's really hard to get into, but it is possible. It's not impossible, but it might as well be almost. But where was I at? Like I said, I got the cheapest souvenir they could get. The money goes towards the campground. I was, last stop. I started out, and let me see if I can find my pictures again, which are all on Facebook. Gives me a little bit better of a idea, because I just added to those timeline photos, cover photos. I should have just said Blairstown. Unfortunately, I didn't get any photos of myself, which I was a little bit. That's why I like taking somebody. And I did bring my tripod, but I decided not to use it. So, but yeah, I did get a smaller frame, which was much cheaper. It does have a nice photo of the lake, which obviously they used when they shot Friday the 13th with that kid in the water who played Jason, the original guy. And believe it or not, that's kind of strange, but yeah, it actually came out. The movie came out in 1980, so that is 35 years ago. The one thing that was kind of interesting, though, in Blairstown, on that street where they shot the movie, there's a movie house, a theater, where they have different things going on. That was in one of the scenes. It was red at the time. Now they painted it for some reason a really awful blue. It's an old movie house, and that's where they actually showed on Friday the 13th the original movie, which was kind of funny. They actually showed the uncut version DVD is where they played it, but they played it on the big screen. I think the thing it's just a nostalgic of being in the town where they shot the film. There's a grocery market next in that same scene. If you watch the movie, next to the movie house that's in the movie, ironically, is that probably not the right word, but yeah, the movie house is in the scene as a backdrop, and is this character, I think again, I believe her name was Annie. I'm probably wrong. She walks into this little mini or this storefront mart, which it is. It's like a hometown like market, supermarket, whatever, but like a hometown building one, a brick building one, which I'm looking at right now. Well, apparently I asked somebody, some older man who said he was in the film. That's what I was trying to get to, too. older man. He was of a retired vet. He lives on this street of Blairstown. Him and he has two sons that were living with him. An old man. I think he might have even been in a wheelchair. He was a vet. And he said, oh, yeah, I actually got a part in the movie. I drove one of the cop cars. They show, I think there was two different ones. A police car that was in the original Friday the 13th. Well, they had him drive the car, this guy. And he's much older. I mean, this was 35 years ago. So that would make him probably at the time, he probably was at least in his 40s or 50s when he did the part in the movie. And I asked these people who put on this event at even, what people best know as Camp Crystal Lake. I said, do you know anybody who was a local in the film? And they had no clue. They said, no, they don't know. And it was like, well, this guy went as far that he was in the film because he was so impressed, I guess, which I would be too, because nobody knew this film was going to be this big, make this much of an impression on people, I should say. Because I didn't tell you the best part about that. Maybe I'll just say it now. A lot of these people who went to this event on Friday the 13th of this year, believe it or not, a lot of them, a majority of these people came from, out from California to go to see a campground. So as crazy it was me driving 2 hours, you have these people, a lot of them from California came out. There was this younger couple. It was a young girl and the guy. They were very nice. They did go on the tour during the day. A lot of these people did. And now only one group or a couple I saw, it was at the Blairstown Diner that I had spoken to, said, yeah, we couldn't get tickets. So we decided to do the next best thing, which I did too. And they decided, well, we're just going to go to the movie that's playing at the movie house since we couldn't get into the campgrounds. But there was a young couple that drove all the way down came down from Boston just to go on the tour. Younger couple, very young, probably 19 and 20 or, around that age, 19 or 20, just to go on the camp excursion and didn't see the movie. So that was very impressive. And they were really happy. They were tickled pink. So, very cool. I'm sorry. The guy gave me his name and I totally forgot. I'm sure he forgot my name as well. I should have told him I had a radio show. Maybe we'll listen in and say, hey, he's talking about me now. Well, they were very nice. But, I mean, the point is there was a lot of people. Anyway, yeah, this older guy, though, who acted in the movie he basically was asked to drive a police car. He was a vet, too, a military vet. He actually, at his house, he has on his door for his house. It's like basically a small little townhouse or whatever. He has plated on his door production company or, production and producer. So I guess it must have been stemmed from that movie. I wonder if Sean Cunningham knows how him just making this little quirky film has kept Blairstown, Hope, New Jersey, and these other locations on the map. Because, I mean, there was some guy who did a video on YouTube, I'm not joking, and he sounded like he was from Britain. And they asked him, well, what are you doing here? Because he actually, one of the things he does in his YouTube videos is said, oh, I went to the Blairstown Diner, which by the way, I think it was really good food. It's very cheap. I mentioned to a friend and my parents, I got a steak that was supposed to be a T-bone. It didn't have that bone in the middle, but it was the size of the plate, and you got a heap of like a lot of food for $13. It was like, wow. Around here, that same meal would have cost me like $40. So I was surprised by that. And the gas was really cheap in New Jersey compared to around where I live here in Trooper / Eagleville, Norristown. So I was impressed by that. But, yeah, that was one of the two places I eat was the Blairstown Diner, which I really liked. I was thinking about that steak all night more than anything else. But then I also ate at this place. It was a pub. That's where I got started. I lost my train of thought. And the pub was right across the street. It was called the Post Time Pub, right across the street from where they shot the film, years before, obviously, 35 years ago. But this pub had really good food, but I got it was $19 for filet mignon. It was like, oh, that's great. Well, the filet mignon looked like something from the Chevy Chase version of National Lampoon's Vacation. Well, it didn't come out from fast food, but the size of the steak was literally would fit it looked like a donut hole. I mean, or like one of those what do you call those little small donut holes you get at Dunkin' Donuts? It was that size. And I know filet mignon, but it said 10-ounce steak, and I looked at it, I was like, where's the steak? Because it was so freaking small. It literally, if you put your fingers together and make an O, that was precisely the size of the steak. So obviously I was really hungry, and I got dessert. They had really good cheesecake at this pub, though. But that bill was $35 or $33. And you got 1/4 of the food I got at this other place, the Blairstown Diner. But there's a lot of different places around. There's actually a natural, what do you call it? I want to call it maybe it's not the right word once again to use. I was going to say holistic, but one of these cafes that everything's all natural. And it was the only place to go because I had to use the restroom one day, and it was the only place open too. And that was pretty good. That was a little expensive as well. But honestly, out of all the places I would recommend, that is in the Friday the 13th when the one camp counselor, the one guy who has curly hair and no T-shirt, he gets killed by the mother at the very end, the first one to get killed, or the second one to get killed in the movie. He actually goes to the Blairstown Diner to eat. Now, the funny thing is that Blairstown Diner, I don't know if you're familiar, people, anybody from around here, there was a diner around here that had really good food, but it was a greasy spoon that had real good food to it. It was a diner, and Blairstown Diner looks like a diner. I mean, like the stereotypical diner. Or we had a place around here like this, like that, this or whatever. And it was called the Gateway Diner. And my one brother, that's the only place he was really funny about what he would eat. That was one of two places he would go, was this place called Gateway Diner. I told my mother, I said, you know what? I think he would like this Blairstown Diner, but it's 2 hours away. If you're ever in Blairstown, you got to check out the diner. One, it's a landmark because of Friday the 13th, but the place is basically just falling apart. I mean, the bathroom, the ladies' room was out of order. The place is definitely in shambles, but the food is really good. So, but it is a real greasy spoon by the term that would be how you would use it. When I was mentioning about my brother, there's another place he used to like called Harvest House, which used to be down in Plymouth Meeting Mall. And that was probably 40 years ago. He used to love that. My mother liked it. I never did. It was like a cafeteria food. But for real diner food, I would say now at this time, the best place on the face of the planet for diner food, is definitely 2 thumbs up for the Blairstown Diner. The other places were great too. It's got really small landmarks. Unfortunately, Blairstown is literally 1 block long. That is everything. There's not much, and it's a lot of, like my father was saying earlier to me. He said, I looked it up on the map. Blairstown, Hope, New Jersey, and where the campgrounds are, that's all flat land. And there's not a lot of mountains, but a lot of flatlands. It's a lot of wooded areas. Unfortunately, most of those areas people drive between 65, 70 miles as the slow speed. So I'm not even kidding. There were some signs going into Hope, New Jersey. If you're caught going under 65, you will be fined for going too slow. I'm not even joking. So, and I'm not used to driving like that. So it was very uncomfortable. In town of Blairstown, it wasn't as bad. It's a drive-through, and then it has signs going to New York. Unfortunately, Blairstown to New York City is as far to drive as it is from Blairstown from Norristown. Either way, you're going to spend 2 hours on the road, so it's not any closer at all. My parents asked about places we go on the shoreline. They're 2 or 3 hours away. So it is in Jersey, but I even try to tell my parents that, hey, Jersey's a big state. People don't seem to think it is. It doesn't look like it's a big state, but it actually is very big if you're going to drive it. So, sorry about that, folks. Again, my last stop was Hope, New Jersey, and from there I drove home, which actually cut my travel time down to an hour and a half. And it was kind of funny because on the way back, I didn't think about it. I was like thinking in my back of my head, maybe there is a Jason Voorhees around Hope, New Jersey, and Blairstown. And the reason I say that, because I was driving down this one road on the left-hand side. I was driving past this deer who literally had a severed head. The head was sheared off, clean across on the side of the road, and it had absolutely no head to be found. So I thought about it. I told my father, and he said, well, maybe what happened was somebody, maybe the deer was a male, a buck with a big rack, and they probably cut the head off and left the rest of the deer there. And it's like, you know what? You're probably right. So somebody obviously did. I don't know if they used the Jason machete, but somebody obviously sheared the head off a deer that probably was already dead. And they kept the head because of the rack, and they left the rest of the deer with the head completely sheared off. I mean, I'm not even kidding. It was from the neck down was all that was left of the deer, and it was laying on the side of the road. I mean, it was pretty hideous. It was pretty hard to look at. But at the same time, I thought it was pretty entertaining. So, that being said, that was probably that wasn't the highlight, but it was definitely, say the least, it was very entertaining. Trying to see where I'm at on my show. But, yeah, was it worth the visit? I would say yes. Did I have the money to spend on it? No, because I have other bills that are going to be due. Personal bills like insurance and stuff next month. And unfortunately, it's going to set me behind on my bills. I don't know if I mentioned, but I was in Blairstown. I told these people, put on this thing, that there was this event going on from this site you go to called Kickstart. And they were trying to basically get money to make this new video game coming out next year for consoles, PC, not for Mac, unfortunately, which I own. But I do have a console. I have an Xbox One, which I have to mention something about that. Now I forgot about. And it ended, ironically, on Friday the 13th was the last day of gathering money for this video game. So I told these people about it. I said, hey, yeah, you know what? This game was, they were asking, which I thought they would never make. They're asking $700,000 for the game, like trying to get donations, contributions on Kickstart to make this video game called Friday the 13th. So I told the guys who run this thing, and I said, well, it's based upon, the campground known as Camp Crystal Lake, which obviously is in outside of Blairstown. And I told these people that. I said, yeah, they're making a video game about the your neck of the woods on that video, on that first movie. So at the time, it was like, okay, I thought they were never going to make it towards $700,000. Well, guess what? When everything was said and done, they surpassed the $700,000. They actually made more or less. They made over, I think it was close to $1 million. It was definitely in the $900,000 range. So that was really, that was a surprise. I had okay, here we go. It says 12,218 backers for this game. Friday the 13th, the game, which will come out next October. Pledges, okay, I was a little off. Pledged 823,704 to help bring the project to life. So, yeah, it was over $800,000. You're like $200,000 shy on donations to make this video game on Friday the 13th. Which, I try to tell these people who own that, who run up or do those tours on that campground, known from the movies as Camp Crystal Lake, which is not the name of this campground for kids, that, hey, if you want to make more money, you got a gold mine just from this movie that Sean Cunningham made. And I mean, it's going to go on probably for indefinitely. That this movie is going to be a cult classic. It already is. I mean, it's past the 35-year mark. That's saying a lot about a movie. But they said, going back to that with those tours, that in May of next year, they're deciding, since the demand is so high, they're going to try to set up 2 tours, one during the day with 7 groups, 1 tour during the night with 7 groups. And in addition to that, they're going to also try to set up, like I said, for an overnight camp, that you can camp out at the campgrounds. It's easier for me to say Camp Crystal Lake, which it is not. And by the way, when I was talking to the people, folks who run these tours, they said when they did the film back 35 years ago, that once they were done, when Sean Cunningham was done making the film, they never bothered. I guess they figured this would be a one-time deal, just a fluke kind of film. They never expected to do as well as it did. So guess what? They left all the props, the signs which were kept that said Camp Crystal Lake. All the props they used for the film were just left there, left behind. So obviously they kept that stuff, and that's what gave them the idea. Hey, we can just put these signs up anytime we do tours, which they haven't done back. I mean, it had taken almost 30 years until they actually decided, wait a minute, there's something here to be made. Sorry, you might have heard some ice. I was just grabbing some more ice too. So it's just kind of weird. It is definitely, the whole thing with this movie is definitely a fluke. It had stemmed from that original film, I think it was either 10 or 11 other films. They didn't make 13 yet, but it was definitely very close. Yeah, because it was 11 films, I'm pretty sure. And that either is or is not including, I would say maybe not, including Freddy versus Jason. Now, if you buy the box set, which I bought last year, or maybe the year before that, maybe even further back, the Blu-ray box set, it actually includes Freddy versus Jason as a Friday the 13th film. It can go either way because it's either a Jason film, as they put it, or a Krueger film, Nightmare or Friday the 13th. It doesn't matter, but either way, if you add that in, that would make it 12 films, I believe. Otherwise, Jason X was obviously Friday the 13th Part 10, and the reboot would have been Friday the 13th Part 11 or 12, give or take, how you look at it. So the bottom line is, one film they never expected to take off this big. It was just something, a campy, no puns intended there, because it is about campground. I think that would be using it correctly. Probably not. Never did they expect it, okay, this movie is going to turn into 11 or 12 more films. Well, guess what? It definitely did. Maybe after the first film, which is true, all the rest were done either in... I think the second and the third were actually done in Vancouver. Probably most of them were, and some in California, but they were basically replicating the same campground they used in New Jersey. So that's the main thing. Anyway, I wanted to also mention, it was funny because when I got home yesterday, I was dead tired because I spent some of my day in Hope, New Jersey. And then from there, I basically turned on the TV just to watch The Big Bang Theory on my box, and I turned on my Xbox One, and it was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I had to reconnect my internet connection, and also it was like, what happened to the desktop? It looks completely different. Well, here they made a new version. I just wanted to mention this. It's basically a Windows 10 Xbox. Basically, it's Windows 10 for Xbox. It's not Windows 10 as you would know, but it is Windows 10 for the Xbox. A version that basically, if you have Microsoft products, meaning the cell phone, what do you call it, with Windows 10 on there, and you have a desktop or a laptop or the Surface with Windows 10, they now all integrate with the new, I want to call it a GUI, but the new desktop or whatever for the Xbox One, probably for the 360 too, which is incredibly different. It's very nice. So I don't know, because I got the new Apple TV and I was saying, wow, this is better than the new Apple TV. But honestly, there's certain things on the Apple TV you can't do with the Xbox One. One is you can get through, as long as you have internet or some type of broadband, you can actually get live television on the Xbox, which you cannot get unless you have a cable connection with the Xbox. Oh, wait. Let me rephrase that for a minute. If you want to get live TV on your Xbox One, you have to have a cable, your cable company's cable, the cable wire running directly into the Xbox. With the Apple TV, you want to get live television as long as you are signed up for certain cable stations. You don't need your cable running through the Apple TV. You can get live TV, even the commercial TV stations, that you don't need cable at all. And as long as you have internet, though, of some sort, you can get live television, and it's like better than cable. It looks like satellite quality. So that's really nice. That's the one thing that's nice about the Apple TV, though. But the new Xbox desktop, as I don't know how else to put it, is very nice. It just takes some time to get used to. It does have a lot of new features. It is a major overhaul, I will say that, on the desktop for the Xbox One. I had to look for an article. I found one on Digital Trends. It says Microsoft stuffed Windows 10 into your Xbox One today. Here's what's changing. So I haven't really read this yet. I just kind of looked for something to, like, what happened to my desktop. I had to reset everything too. Well, a few things. It says Microsoft launched a major update for its Xbox One console today, significantly overhauling the system's interface and introducing a long-requested feature like backwards compatibility for the Xbox 360 titles. That alone was really impressive because, yeah, now you can play. You actually have to buy the games, though. I think probably online. You can do it kind of on the Xbox One, but I think they want you to go on your regular desktop computer, buy the games there, and then it just transfers them right to your Xbox One, is what I'm gathering. Because I tried to do it today on the free trial stuff, and I didn't do too great of a job. That was on November 12th, so it was the day before. It was on Thursday. It says related, Windows 10 sees major overhaul in Xbox One release. The new Xbox One experience recognizes system settings and makes frequently launched games and apps more easily accessible for users. The system-wide overhaul recalls Microsoft's efforts with Windows 10 and promises to improve performance and less visual clutter than what we've seen in the console's previous dashboard. It definitely is very different. It is a lot faster. It's almost like I bought a brand new Xbox, which I did not. That's how different this desktop is. The Xbox One home screen gives players fast access to console social features. Users can see what their friends are playing at a glance, and the process involved in sharing achievements and recording game clips have been streamlined. So the big thing is there's over 100. That was like kind of a shock because I looked it up. Xbox released on the day of the launch of the new, which you didn't even have to do anything because it automatically updated if four of you liked it or not to the new console desktop. It basically I looked online. It said for the backwards compatibility games, there's over 100 games. That's pretty good for a launch. One of the biggest, most requested additions to the Xbox One firmware is backwards compatible, adding support for more than 100 games previously released for the Xbox 360. Basically, all you have to do, I guess you got to get them on the online store. I'm sure if you buy them, the firmware has been updated. It will recognize, again, more than 100 games, it says, that were originally for the Xbox 360. A lot of them were pretty impressive. I was kind of shocked. They're not all crappy games. After installing today's update, users can play landmark games like Fallout 3, Mirror's Edge, and Fable 2 on their Xbox One. Support for additional games via backwards compatibility will be rolled out on a monthly basis, and the console will soon support popular releases like Halo Reach, Call of Duty Black Ops, and BioShock Infinite. Today's dashboard update also introduces game-specific hubs, giving players a heads-up when new content is available for the games that they own. In addition, expanded Xbox One guide functionally allows users to double-tap the Xbox One controller guide button to access key features like messages, notifications, and multiplayer party status. One of the things I was really interested in this upgrade, because I didn't know they did this, and it's only you have to buy it through the online store, and they actually did it for PlayStation and for the PC, was this game they specifically launched originally only for the Wii U, and they actually said they improved upon it. It was this game called Zombie. Well, there's a lot of zombie games. The original was called Zombie U, and the thing that was different from the other ones to me was that this particular game reminded me of this old game I used to love playing in the arcade. Not that long ago, it looked like it was an outdated game from when they put it out, because it was this game originally was really cheesy looking, but I loved playing it in the arcades, down the shore, when I go down the New Jersey shore, and it was called House of the Dead. And I even loved the movie, which had nothing to do with the game. But that game looked like, it was from Sega, I believe. The game was like really generic looking graphics, but the game was really fun to play. And every once in a while, they release versions for the consoles. So, but, the consoles now, most of the consoles that will play that game of House of the Dead are really outdated consoles. You can't even get the game to play. So when I saw this game called Zombie with no E on the end, it's this zombie with drop the E, was originally made for the launch of the Wii U. I was like, well, why didn't they make it for the other consoles or for the other systems, even your computer, where they didn't? So eventually, I guess they lost their grips because it's owned by Ubisoft, I think is the name of the company that made the game. And they figured, hey, wait a minute. We better make this for the other stuff. We're losing out on some money. So now they released it for everything, even the Xbox One. So that was pretty impressive. So, and the thing that's new also on the new setup, by the way, of the new, basically Microsoft 10, desktop feature made for Xbox One. The other thing that's very impressive is you can get and view these games on how not only do they look on screenshots, but actually how they play. And you can actually do free trial downloads. So I've had this Xbox for over a year now, this Xbox One, and I signed up for, I thought it was only less than a year, and unless it's coming up that, I'm going to have to renew my contract because you have to have Xbox Live. You have to buy the cheapest version just to get the benefits of Xbox One. Maybe they finally dropped charging you a yearly fee, because I haven't got charged again. Which reminds me, I shouldn't jinx myself, but that's also true for Rush Limbaugh. I remember I must have signed up for a 2-year plan for him, and because I haven't been asked, because I get his radio shows. I basically listen to him on my iPod all the time, on my my iPhone. It's an iPod. That's another thing I want to mention. I just remembered about him. Anyway, finishing the story about Xbox One, it says Xbox One owners can now download Xbox One Experience today by launching the console settings app, navigating to the system pan, and choosing update console options. Well, I didn't even have to. When I was gone that Thursday, because I have, like, the system will go online when it sees updates when necessary. It will connect to the internet, my Xbox One. So it did it without me even knowing. I wasn't even home for 2 days. So when I got home, I turned it on. Everything was completely different. So that was pretty impressive, too. It's got a mind of its own. It knows when and how to update your system. Xbox One is truly an entertainment box. It's all in one. It is, a media hub, as some people may like to put it. Anyway, it's too late, but I'll mention the news now. But I know Rush Limbaugh was pushing. He was trying to push. The big thing is his children's books right now. So I'm going to look that up. It's called Rush Revere. Let's see if I can find it. No, I'm not Yeah. Well, Rush had a contest, which was really cool, and it's over now, I think. I'm trying to look for it. Yeah, it's back to normal price. Apparently, the people, adults and kids, love reading his books. I have not read one of them. I buy them just to support Rush, strictly more than anything else. But people who read the books and know about it, it's about Rush Limbaugh being Paul Revere and these books, and his character that he has, which is for the kids strictly, this thing called Liberty the Talking Horse. Well, the plush was actually made from that Build-A-Bear place, I think. It actually says the Bear Mill, a family-owned small business in Idaho. So people were saying, Rush made Limbaugh for the Rush Revere books, which had nothing to do with the books, made this thing called Ted T. Bear, which I bought one. Again, anything that support Rush and something that I'll have remotely interest of keeping around the house, I'll buy it. So I got the Ted T. Bear because it's got actually his signature sewn into Rush Limbaugh's on an American flag on the bottom. It's a patriotic bear. It's like, hey, I'll support Rush this way. I like collecting little knickknacks and stuff. I'll just be just one more I'll be collecting. So people are saying that, and especially the kids, obviously, they said, why don't you make a Liberty, which is this talking horse in these books, these children's books from Rush, a Liberty plush, a teddy bear of Liberty the talking horse. So they finally did so. Rush approved one, that was made. And that's not the important thing, though. The thing was, he ran a contest because obviously that's going to boost his sales. And he said that it actually crashed his server when he did this. He knocked down the price of the bear. But what you did is you buy one of these talking horse teddy bears, and it enters you automatically into a new contest he had. It was like, okay, is it worth it? Well, yeah, it actually is, because it was if you win, which is really impossible, but you never know. I think winning Rush Limbaugh's contest is probably a lot more closer for me to happen than me winning the $1 million lottery. That's just how bad my luck is. And either one is very close. I'll let you know that much. So anyway, what was I going to mention? Rush actually, said, hey, if you do it, it was strictly on Thursday, I think. It might have been Wednesday into Thursday. Actually, it was because I know it was Thursday into Friday probably till midnight. And I was driving up to around Blairstown. I was driving to my hotel, actually outside of Blairstown. And I heard this commercial, and they said, Rush was saying, because I was listening to recap the show of that day, he says, well, if you do it before midnight, you buy the bear, get entered in the contest. He said, this is the best one we had so far, that the grand prize, which is going to be really hard, none of the prizes are bad, is a trip for 4 people to the Hawaiian Islands, everything fully paid. All your expenses are paid. I know the last time he did something like that, he actually gives you spending money. So for like, I think it was the horse, whatever you want to call it, was on sale for $20. It's normally like $26. So it was like $5, $6 knocked off of it, and you get entered in this contest. And there's other prizes that are just as good. Now he said, well, if you don't like, you've already been to Hawaiian Islands, I never have. He said, oh yeah, you can pick another deal. You can make a trip anywhere you want to go, and the money would use for that trip to the Hawaiian Islands, or you'd be paid for, would go somewhere else. Like, you know what? I usually, because when he puts the iced tea on sale, I'll usually get his iced tea when it's on sale, because normally his iced tea is like $24 a case, and that's only 6 bottles. So that is awfully expensive. Let me see what that is. It's $26 for a case of 6. I'm not even kidding. It's like, actually, no, it's 24 bottles. No, wait. 16-ounce bottles, 12 per case. I think actually I'm staying correct at 12 bottles per case. I thought it was 24 you usually get. You usually get 2 cases. Because that would make, but let me see. Because I can't remember. But the only time I buy it was on sale, or if he's running a contest. Hey, you buy it IC, get entered in a contest. I'll buy it then. It says original sweet tea, $23.76. There's no tax on the tea. Volume, 16-ounce bottles, 12 bottles per case. Oh, yeah, that is right. So you're getting 12 bottles, which is 3 6-packs. I apologize. But when you weigh that out, you're getting 12 bottles, 26. So that's divided by 12. You're paying, which isn't probably too bad. You're paying a little over $2 a bottle, give or take. You're paying about $2 a bottle. So, yeah, if you go to these restaurants, yeah, I know they charge you that much for stuff, but it's still a little bit pricey. The shipping's free. That's very nice. But every once in a while, he will do that. He'll put his iced tea on sale for like, $20. And he keeps the free shipping obviously still there. So when he does that, I will buy it then, and if it's consists of having a contest added on, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. So, this time it was buying the teddy bear, which was like, okay, it's marked down, it gives the incentive of marked down. He said literally, I'm not even making this up just to, this is a lame excuse for you just to buy something else. Money you don't have. Well, I definitely don't have the money. But he said that the website literally crashed after he put up this thing. So, that to me, that was a bit, it was actually pretty impressive. Okay, so, obviously to have a website crash, and he said, well, we kind of had this issue before where the website would crash. We tried to fix this problem this time. We made sure that, this would not happen. We, fixed problems from the past. Well, obviously it didn't, because the website crashed almost immediately, not too long after he had mentioned this contest. So a lot of people went in to buy these plush talking horse, Liberty talking horse dolls from the Rush Revere books. But most of them were doing it because obviously he had this contest. It, was pretty much a very like, hey, this is really cool. So, why am I saying this? Well, because I'm not the only one who's crazy enough to buy, I'm going to buy this because that is, for me, that would be a strong yes. Because my friend would say, well, you like collecting this stuff or buying these teddy bears. And so I got a room full now. I'm going to need my mother always says, you need a separate room for all these teddy bears you have. And unfortunately, she's actually right at this point. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, she is. She's actually right. But yeah, I'm getting off point though. But yeah, I was like, okay, I really do like entering this contest because they usually are pretty good. This one was just, was really good. So, I wasn't going to let this one go. So, again, that being said, I just wanted to mention that too. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted, folks, on other things. So, it was a shame. I mean, I would have mentioned it, but I was off for a couple days because, again, I was in Blairstown, and I really did have a good time. I mean, I this time I didn't get up until late in the afternoon. It was more because I was just plain kind of depressed coming home from on my 2-day excursion, 2.5 excursion down in Blairstown. Not that there was a lot to do. It was just depressing to have to leave. So, folks, as always, I've been off. I don't know when I'll be back. Hope you enjoyed what I did or had put together today. And I will be back, who knows at this point. And I hope you enjoy my shows when I do them. Okay, thanks a lot for listening to me, and have an excellent evening. I'm signing off on the iWalter Show. On still, surprisingly, Sunday, November 15th. Alrighty, have a good night. Alrighty, hey folks, this is iWalter, and I forgot totally about one thing I did want to mention tonight. That's why I'm back. I apologize. Yes, I did sign off. I am back on again. Just to let you know, I did get this film in the mail on when I was away. I have to mention, it's what me and a friend would call a spankerchief film. It's the 80s cult classic collector's edition DVD that was originally released back in 89 or something, probably in the early 90s. And it was Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout. That's why I'm back again. So I apologize for signing off and coming back on. The DVD was actually released 2 years ago, back in 2013, and it is the official copyright. I'm going to look at it now. It actually has an autograph from Linnea Quigley. It's really goofy, but it's definitely a spankerchief thing. She doesn't look as good now because they did a thing on what she looks like now. She did a recap and an update. Yep, it's an official DVD, and I got actually a smear mark on it, which really sucks. Already ruined the disc. I scratched it. Which, it's going to get more scratches otherwise. So I'm trying to get this scratch. It literally is. It's a scratch mark on the disc. It's brand new. I think it came off. So maybe it wasn't a deep scratch. But yeah, it is truly, she did autograph a photo, her and the guy who directed or produced this this video. It's meant to be campy. It is very campy. It says in the late 1980s, Kenneth J. Hall, a.k.a. Hal Kennedy, creator of The Puppet Master and writer-director of The Halfway House, teamed up with the Regaining Queen, Queen of Scream to make Linnea Quigley's Horror Workout. And she is, I want to say completely new, but she shows, like, it was one part, she's in a shower scene for a good long time. She actually did a shower scene, by the way, in her parents' house. That was pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, she did the shower scene in her parents' house and pool scene at her parents' house. And she did this workout thing, but she, in the shower scene in the beginning, she's actually taking a shower. Obviously completely nude. They don't show her hey nanny nanny, but they show her boobs and her ass, and then she had a very nice ass back then. It's definitely a 10 Kleenex spankerchief DVD. It was a limited edition, which unfortunately I found the DVD brand new, untouched. You know, these are limited amounts. Supposedly were all copies. Were never even sold by the looks of it, because I went to the website. She still sells them on her own website. It says this cult classic spoof exercise video and fright film is presented here for the first time on DVD in this newly remastered special edition with lost bonus features. So the bonus features were actually worth it more. Well, her video is worth it too. Trust me. It's one you're going to put on your computer if you have a DVD player. And I won't need to tell you what you will be doing with watching the DVD of her working out, because it's very lengthy of her showing her butt off. There's one where she's basically exercising with a bunch of badly made up zombies, and her nipple pops out. I'm not even kidding, out of her shirt. She actually was also in Return of the Living Dead as well, that movie. So that was pretty funny, too. I remember in Return of the Living Dead, she plays this punk girl, where she cuts her hair really short, and she has some funky color, because she's supposed to be a punk girl. And in that movie, she is completely nude. I mean, she's gotten nude before, where she shows her ass off, she shows her tits, her boobs. And I remember distinctly in the Return of the Living Dead, she shows her hey nanny nanny, and it is fully shown. I mean, that was the first time she was ever that nude. She's all right looking now, but she's not as hot as she is in this workout video, which otherwise, by any other standard, is extremely bad. But yeah, if you're doing it to work out in a different way, if you get my drift, it is actually absolutely fantastic. And, 30 seconds of your time, if you're me, you will definitely enjoy. It would be the best 30 seconds of your life, because trust me. And even in one part, she says, why would, if I'm going to work out, she wears fishnets, a really scantily clad thong type or whatever, a bottom workout outfit and a top. And it was like, well, do you really want to see me work out in a regular baggy sweatpants and a shirt? And it was like, the whole purpose is, why do people watch horror movies? Well, one is because of the thrill of getting scared by monsters or, a serial killer. And two, because of the hot women who get, are having sex or basically have hardly any clothes on. So she basically even has a slumber party. It's very short. I think it's no more than 20 minutes. And it's very dragged out. But it's funny. There's one woman who, in this video, even back in '89, she obviously looked way too old to be a young girl at a slumber party. And I think they made comment of this in the new commentaries, or whatever. Not commentaries, they're probably in there too, in the new added footage on the DVD. But the rest of them were like, if you like that 80s, the girls with the the fluffed up hair, the crimped hair, and the the puffy hairstyles and stuff, you're going to get all that. And then these girls, minus the one who was all right, this blonde-haired girl who looked like she was way too old to be at this slumber party in this one short. I mean, they're all like there's 3 shorts in this video of her horror workout. But they're in like panties, 80s panties and the 80s negligees, and trust me, they're hot. That alone was spankerchief material. Just her working out with these zombies with her titty popping out was just, trust me, and her just working out and running around. They did run in some complications. They said when they did this video, they were afraid, since it was done at her parents', literally it was done at her parents' house. Lena Quigley's house, that they were going to run into some problems because it's private, it's around, housing development. And they said at one point, actually, the fire department did come in. They were doing a routine, fire drills around her house area. And it caught their attention that they were actually shooting a horror short spoof with her. And she actually mentions all the movies she acted in, she does, actually, all of them. That was another thing. It was a good ad campaign for her just to mention it in movies she was in. And these are like, she is the true Scream Queen. That's why I had to get back on. I had this thing laying here, this DVD right next to, and I just ended the show and was like, this was supposed to be the highlight of my show. And I forgot about it. So it was definitely worth it. Majority, about 99% of the copies are still available. If you want like good spank material if you like, hot chicks in horror films, because she's not that. She aged. I'm sorry to say she aged pretty horribly. I'm sure she's a very nice person. I will not say that about Patty Mullen, because I thought she was just as hot as she was back then. But yeah, I won't say anything else. But because that's a different actress altogether, horror scream queen. But yeah, trust me. She's got like the puffy hair. She's got like a poodle hair thing on her head where she's got her hair, and she did that in a lot of her movies too. She's got blonde hair, like that bleached bottle blonde hair, but she's always been a blonde. I think since she was a kid, she was a natural blonde when she was born. Linnea Quigley, that is, and she has her hair in like that, little piece of hair in a rubber band on the top of her head sticking up. And she did that in a lot of her movies, too. And I recognized one or two of her films I've seen her in without even realizing it. Actually, more than that. Because a lot of these were the ones I would watch when I was younger that, the Kleenex films I would watch in the past. And not realizing, wait, that's Linnea Quigley? So I didn't know that. And I probably even would have passed her by at a convention if she was ever there. Now I'm kind of curious to see her if she would ever come around. But I tell you, that is definitely, apparently it does stand the test of time because people just get it for the nostalgic. And again, it is in, a private workout, if you get my drift. It's good for, I might as well just come out and say it, a good masturbation piece, to say it the least. Yeah, it's good spank material, trust me. And I'm not even joking. I'm not making this one up. So it was well worth it. You can find it. It's very hard to find. Maybe that's why it didn't sell that well. But she's a big scream queen. So she is one of the top ones, probably, believe it or not. But I don't know. I'm going to look now to see. Fright Film Factory, but I don't know if she has her web link on this desk. I don't see it on here because I would give it to people. But yeah, you just look for her Linnea Quigley's horror workout. They actually had T-shirts that you can still get with Linnea Quigley's horror workout. The reason this came about, the guy said, was he said, well, some of the things she does, like in some of her movies, look so kind of quirky. It looked like she wasn't killing, she was either being the person chased down by demons or she became a demon and killed other people. And when she became the slayer person or the person slaying whatever in the films, sometimes with a chainsaw, the guy said direct, and he says, well, it looks like you're almost doing a workout video. And it was like, that's where they came up with the idea. Why don't we really do that? We're going to make a horror film, a horror quirky, not even a film, more of a camp. Looks like it was shot on video, which was interesting to watch that thing on a workout video in sexy, sexy workout outfit, doing exercise. And one time with zombies. It was really, it's really bad. It's the only reason you watch is for one reason, which I mentioned numerous times. That's all it's good for, basically. But I definitely recommend it. She's really short, too, because the other women in the one part of the video are much taller than hers, and they're probably average size. She's probably the short one. Now, the thing was, the guy said when they shot this film, they said they actually was shot on using, this is old school, and they said they actually did have non-linear, but it was too expensive at that point. So it was all shot on, which I actually had to use at Cabrini College. They used a 1-inch videotape to shoot it on, and they said it was not easy to edit because they weren't unable, when you use 1-inch videotape, you have to physically almost edit. Well, you're basically editing tape to tape, which is next to impossible. You got to lay either your sound reel down first, and if I remember correctly, and lay the audio or video on top of the sound. And you got to, it's not easy. They said that you don't, movie directors or film people or video editors now don't know how easy they have. I do. I was taught at Cabrini you had to use 1-inch videotape. But the end process is we actually used Final Cut, or I think it was Adobe Premiere at the time. I use Final Cut now, but we used Adobe Premiere on the Mac. One school, we didn't use half-inch videotape. We actually used high 8, which was even easier yet. But yeah, at Cabrini, they wanted you to learn how to physically, at one point in your experience of video editing, you had to learn how to edit on 1-inch tape. I actually did an internship at free intern. I didn't even get any credit for it. I did it just for the experience at PC TV, Pottstown TV. They used 1-inch video editing equipment, and it is not easy. It is very, very hard to do. Trust me. I'm not even just saying that. So watching that part of this thing just made it worthwhile. Some of the complications they ran in with that. They said actually the guy who was supposed to do the sound on the video actually put the mic, which would be an XLR even back then, I assume. They connected the mic directly into the camera, and they said that was a problem because they shot a good chunk with Linnea Quigley, and the guy said, "You didn't hook the mic up directly to the camera, did you?" And they said, "Yeah, we did." And he said, "Well, your sound's going to be really bad," because they were taking the sound directly then off or feeding it right in the camera. Basically, I've done edits like that before, but the way when you shoot something where the mic's not right on top of a person, you actually need to do I didn't know this actually, but apparently they said you needed to shoot your audio separate from the video. So they had to go back and reshoot where the audio was being recorded separately from the video, because you don't want to, apparently they said for this type of video they did, you do not want to feed, you don't want to feed your audio directly into the video, because basically what you're doing then, which does make sense, because I remember it's been a long time. It's been almost 15, 20 years since I've taken a class. But yeah, the reason you want to record your audio and video separately, I totally forgot, was because otherwise your audio and video will be married to each other, meaning that both are going to be on the same reel. So you don't want that, because it makes it very difficult to edit. So by you recording the audio separate from the video, when you go to that point that you lay down what you usually do, when you do a video, everything has to be done linearly, in a linear line, which means all your audio tracks, generally, most of the time what we learned in school is you lay your audio track down first, and then you got to match up your video segments on top on a separate part of your edit on top of your video. That's the way we used to do it at Cabrini. Now, there is ways you can basically edit both your audio and video together, but apparently it sometimes is easier just to lay down your audio track first and then put your video tracks on top, or, on a separate part of your editing line. Otherwise, apparently, according to them, they said most of your video, which I can't imagine, I thought they do that more with film, but the way they made it sound in this video that I bought is you actually had to physically cut your tape, which is not really the case. You basically edit from one tape, which is your master tape, onto your finished product, but you got to basically do everything in a linear line, that everything is recorded from beginning to end, from point A to point B, meaning that's your linear line. It's a straight line. The way most people edit now, you can start from the end and edit from that point. You can start from the middle. You can go any direction, because your timeline, as it's known, is not linear. It is a linear line, but the line is not etched in stone, because it's all done on a computer. Years ago, you did not have that. So the bottom line is this tape was, in many different ways, had a lot to offer. I'm using tape now, DVD. And there's still almost every copy, minus the one I bought, is still available. So, folks, I said this before. I'm saying it again. I am signing off. Definitely this time. I hope you enjoyed this extra segment just added on, which I forgot about. So, sorry about forgetting. But thanks again for listening to iWalter. I'm signing off. Thanks.